Yo, what's good, YouTube, man? It's Gabriel, just on Fan TV, back at you with the video. Like the content of this video, go and smash that like button. Like the content of this channel, go and subscribe, man. Look, so the Ravens come off a very, very dominant victory versus the Denver Broncos. We're talking about 41-10. The Ravens offense looks verifiably unstoppable, and you got to think they still got guys like Deontay Johnson to really get incorporated into the offense. He played some snaps, didn't get a target. And then you still got KeiMendall coming back, right? So offense look really good. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the defense as well, right? The defense still had some struggles. They held the Broncos to 10 points, but they still had some struggles out there, right? Now, to start off, stand-up performance. For me, it's the three guys, the three heads of the offense, right? Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, all right? So Zay Flowers goes for 5 catches, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did most of his damage in the first half. I think he had 4 for 111 and 2 touchdowns in the first half. Second half, the Ravens already kind of running away with it. He didn't get much work, right? But he made another catch in the second half, right? So Zay Flowers, if you want to look at Zay Flowers' game log, right? Let's just take a look at this, right? Zay Flowers has 100 yards in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 of his last 5 games. Zay Flowers has 100 plus yards. All right. All this talk about could Zay Flowers be a wide receiver 1 for this team? I'm not gonna say it's completely over with, but put some respect on Zay Flowers' name. He's a really, really good, talented receiver. When the Ravens just have him running routes, they don't throw 1,000 screens to him. He did catch the screen today in the second half. I think he might caught one in the first half as well, but when they don't make it the main basis of what he does, they get him on these runaway routes where he can actually use his separation ability. He's good at the point of attack when catching the football. All right, so when they use him like a real wide receiver, like the guy that we saw out of Boston College, you see his talent shine full through, right? So shout out to Zay Flowers, right? Big time player. All right. Second guy, Derrick Henry, right? Derrick Henry, 23 carries, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. A little bit of a slow start to the game. Really picked up in the second half. Derrick Henry has become the closer. Well, not become. He's been the closer for this team the entire year. And that role he's really good at, right? You know, when the defenses are fresh in the first half, no, it's not as much success there, right? We're going to be completely honest. But as the game wears on, Derrick Henry only gets better. He turns it up in that second half. All right, so today was no different. But I like the fact that, you know, even though the rushing game wasn't completely effective in the first half, they didn't go away from it too much, right? The Ravens stuck with being under center a lot more this game. They had a lot of play actions from under center that led to this offensive explosion, right? They stuck with a part of their offense that is really good, right? So, and then last but not least, right, Lamar Jackson, all right? Lamar Jackson was once again certifiably incredible today. We're talking about 16 for 19, 280 yards, which is 15 yards of completion. All right. 3 touchdowns. And for the 4th time in his career, Lamar Jackson has a perfect pass rate, 158.3. All right. We're talking about guys like, you know, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, who took 300 plus games to reach 4 games of a perfect passer rate. Lamar Jackson has done that in about 95 games. All right. So every time Lamar Jackson makes a new record or joins an elite company, he's doing it in a fraction of the games, right? When he breaks the rushing record for QBs, it's going to be in a fraction of the games. When he keeps doing these passing records for quarterbacks, it's going to be in a fraction of the games. All right. So Lamar Jackson is a truly special talent, and we know that, right? Another thing for Lamar Jackson. We're throwing for 280 yards. That means that's 5 consecutive games Lamar Jackson has thrown for 275 yards plus. That's a franchise record, all right? So now when you add up everything that's going into being Lamar Jackson, I think he was already there, but he's comfortably the best offensive player in Ravens franchise history, right? I don't think there's any debate about that. Now, as far as what's going on into the future in this year, you know, Lamar Jackson can win a championship, win a Super Bowl, get another MVP. I mean, now you're talking about a guy that's, I don't know, 10 to 5 all time at his position, right? He's on the kind of trajectory where you got to put him down with the all-time greats. All right. So Lamar Jackson, but just talking about today, what I really loved while watching Lamar Jackson today was the touch on his throws today, right? I think last week versus the Browns, you know, could have been the win, whatever, I don't know. The ball sometimes was coming out of his hand a little weird, right? It didn't like he had full control of the ball sometimes, right? This week, that was not the case, right? I mean, we talking about touch throws to Zay Flowers over the middle, to Nelson Aguilar with the crowd of Broncos around him, touch throw, down the sideline to Justice Hill, perfectly leading them down the sideline, right? Lamar Jackson was in complete control, right? And even when Lamar Jackson is escaping, right, he never looks harried. Like he's kind of just waiting around, waiting around. Last second, he'll scramble or he'll find the dump off, right? So, or one of the biggest developments of this year, he will throw the ball away, right? Simple as that, right? Not taking any bad plays. And so really he should have been 17 for 19. Bateman did have a bad drop. So I got to throw that in there, but he did have a bad drop. So, Lamar Jackson and his offense clicking can get even better as well, right? So we talked about, adding Deontay Johnson to this offense, who got out there for some snaps, right? Didn't see a target, like I said, but he's out there. And then you bring KeiMendall off, who's going to be maybe making his debut this Thursday with Cincinnati. We'll see, right? So when you didn't think this offense could get any better, they're adding more pieces to it, right? This is I'll say it, right? Maybe this would be a bad take, and I don't think it will be, but this is the best offensive in the NFL for one. That's a fact, right? Every metric tells you that. But this is by far the best offense in Ravens franchise history, right? Ravens haven't been known to be a great offensive franchise, so to me, really, that's probably not even a leap, honestly, right? Lamar is probably competing with the Flacco Kubiak offense and just over a whole season span, because the Super Bowl run, they were okay. They were it was really just good for the playoff run. So he's competing with that Flacco Kubiak year in the 2019 Ravens. And last year Ravens, I thought they were good on offense, but they still missed some pieces, right? This offense looks complete everywhere you look, right? The only way you could say it now is, especially with after the addition of Deontay Johnson, is will this offensive line cost them in the crunch time in the playoffs? That's the only thing you really have to look out for, right? And that could be a big thing, right? So when Ravens have played big, physical, dominant defensive lines, they've struggled this year. Look at the 3 losses, okay? But offensive line played well enough today. They got the job done. They were moving people in the run game. That was one of the keys to the game. That if the Ravens could control the line of scrimmage, they would win this game. They did that with flying colors, right? So this Ravens offense is by far the best in franchise history, the best offense in the NFL currently. And I'm only excited to see where they go from here. All right. Now, a little less positive. We got to talk about the other side of the ball. We got to talk about the defense, all right? The defense held the Broncos to 10 points, right? But that doesn't really tell the story of the whole entire game. If we look at what the Broncos did, honestly, the Broncos probably could have had, it wouldn't have made a big difference, but the Broncos probably could have had 3-4 more field goals, right? The Ravens stopped them on fourth down quite a bit, right? The Broncos in this game 1 for 5 on fourth down. And that's really where the gap comes in, right? Broncos converted a couple more a couple more fourth downs, excuse me. It's kind of a different ball game, right? But they didn't. Ravens make the plays on those downs to stop the Broncos short, right? So when I look at this defense, right, Bo Nix today, 19 of 33, 223 yards, and 1 interception. He had an interception to start this game. Might have been the very first play of the game or second play of the game. Kyle Vanoy tips it up, and Darius Washington picks it off, right? But besides that, it was kind of the same old from the Ravens defense, right? The secondary had a lot of space in it. I didn't see as many communication errors in terms of getting lined up and set today. I didn't see that as much, right? I will say this: the Ravens are having a hard time calling these split safety looks, right? Calling cover 2, cover 4, really mainly the cover 2 looks, because every time they call it, teams are dialing up the perfect play where they can run off the deep safety and throw another wide receiver right in behind it, right? We saw that was a touchdown pass versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we saw for a deep sideline shot today. I can't remember who he completed it to. It might have been Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton kind of ran out and up, and another receiver was clearing out the safety, so just a perfect hole shot, right? Right there. Okay, so the Ravens' use of cover 2 hasn't been great, honestly. Right, teams are identifying when they're in it and calling the perfect play, right? So you gotta do something about that. But to me, the Ravens' biggest flaw right now is the lack of pass rush. There are too many times where Bo Nix today was just standing back there having all day to throw the football. The trade deadline for the NFL is Tuesday. if the Ravens are going to make a move, pass rusher is the #1 priority they need to make, right? Getting a different safety is not going to change anything. Getting a different corner is not going to change anything. Um, the Ravens need another pass rusher. Simple as that, right? And also, the pass rush schemes up front, I'll have to watch the game again, but they just seem very bland, right? If the Ravens are rushing for, it's straight head on man to man. Like, we just whoever's in front of us, that's who we're attacking. I'm not seeing a lot of twists, a lot of stunts, a lot of games. Listen, Matabike is a really good player, but he ate a lot with Mike McDonald because Mike McDonald would do those kind of things, right? I watch defensive lines all across the NFL where they have a guy, whether it's a defensive tackle, outside, it doesn't matter. He's not even trying to rush. His job is literally to block an offensive line, whether it's a tackle or a guard, so another guy can loop around and come free, right? That's his job on that play. The Ravens aren't making those kind of sacrifices up front. It's a lot of guys just rushing one-on-one, right? And can you beat your man? And they're not winning, right? That start that Kyle Van Noy had is teetered off. The start that not David Ojabo because he's a healthy scratch. The start that Odafe Owe, sorry, I don't know why his name slipped right there. The start Odafe Owe had has kind of slipped away, right? The Ravens need to do two things. They need to bring in a bona fide guy who could win one-on-one if this is how you want to play. And also, Zach Orr and his Ravens coaching staff needs to switch it up front. It's too bland up front, right? It's too easy for the offensive line. If you're just going to run straight at them and that's it, it's too easy. Run some games, run some twists, run some stunts to where the linemen have to think about, okay, I'm passing this guy off, whatever. Like right now, it's whoever's in front of me, that's who I have to block. That's too easy for NFL offensive linemen. It's too easy. All right, so the Ravens have to do a better job of that, right? Try to actually confuse somebody, not just with, okay, we have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, 3 guys are going to back out. All right, you can confuse some guys like that, okay, of course. But also, if you want to throw some stunts and games in there, that would help as well. So that's my spiel on the Ravens defensive line and why I think that. Because if you look at it last year, you watched the videos, I said the same thing. The Ravens don't have a guy that you line them up one-on-one in straight up pass situations, end of the game, he's going to get to the quarterback. I said that last year. Ravens didn't have that guy. Matabike had, 13 sacks last year. I said that last year. Ravens didn't have that guy. So to try to base your defense around guys that are just going to head up one-on-one, that's not the way to do it. It's not the way to do it. It's not going to be effective. All right, so if you're going to make a trade before Tuesday or on Tuesday, look, Ravens have to wait till the very, very last minute. It needs to be for a pass rusher, right? Another safety, another corner. No, I don't want to hear it, right? The corners, they're fine, right? Brandon Stevens obviously could do a lot better job of getting his head around, whatever. He's still good enough to be a starter, all right? Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, great. Marcus Williams I thought he was better today. Now, it's absolutely embarrassing getting mossed by Bo Nix in the end zone. But I can't even say it is what it is. That's embarrassing. Marcus Williams can't let that happen. I mean, whatever. But the Ravens went today 41-10. The offense looks incredible. The defense still has a lot of work to do, right? So I don't want to turn it into too negative because it is a day to be celebrated, right? If this Ravens offense continues on this kind of pace, they're going to be hard to beat, right? But at the end of the day, you need a good defense, right? It's going to be hard when you play against better offenses, better quarterbacks, just to say, okay, Ravens offense, win a game like how we did versus the Bengals 41-38. You can't expect that. The defense has to play better, right? So while we want to celebrate today's winning, we got to be realistic as well. This defense is not going to be good enough to get the Ravens to where they want to be. This offense is phenomenal, like truly a phenomenal offense. The defense has to pull their weight. All right. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it, man. So another great day for Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry. That offensive trio is amazing with more pieces to be added coming soon, right? So give me your thoughts on the game. I reply to all comments, but it's Gabriel, Fan TV. I'm out.